What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And as you can see, today we're finally going to get the truck into the shop. We're going to get the supercharger pulled off. We're going to get the cylinder head pulled off. I've got the parts finally in for this thing to fix the issue, the coolant burn, the misfire that this thing developed that has actually been doing it since day one. I'll kind of throw a link up here on that original video talking about the issue, but all the parts are finally in, so it's finally time. Take this thing in, we'll tear it apart. I'm unfortunately just gonna be doing a time lapse. It's just way too time consuming to, gonna be documenting every little part and piece, but it'll be a time lapse, something to at least, watch if you're sitting there, but won't be a how-to. It'll be a time lapse, but we're gonna tear this thing apart and hopefully get it back on the road. Well guys, I got the cylinder head finally off this thing, and I can show you what I found. And I don't know if you could tell from the time lapse or not, but the cylinder head bolts were extremely loose, definitely under torqued from the factory. I would say I don't really see any defect in the cylinder head, but like I said, I'll show you what I've got, what I've found, and we'll see what we can do. So first things first, here is the cylinder head. Now, if we look in the cylinders, here is cylinder 2, 4, 6, and 8. And cylinder 2 piston looks pretty normal. Cylinder 8 looks pretty normal. They're always going to have a little bit of carbon buildup. Cylinder 4 is very nice and shiny here. It definitely indicates that we've had coolant in that cylinder. And cylinder 6 even is a little bit shiny down here in the bottom. And I think, and all of the lower cylinder head bolts were extremely loose. They felt very under torqued. Some of the top ones even felt very similarly loose. So I think that's what our issue was. We were blowing combustion gases between the cylinders, and we were leaking coolant out of the coolant passages into the cylinders once the engine was turned off and the cooling system pressure was pushing back through the gasket. Now again, here is the cylinder head laying upside down. We can see really nice fire rings here on cylinder 2, really nice on 8, and here are our two issues here. This is again the bottom, I've got it upside down, but you can see where that nice fire line is interrupted here and here. So that's where we were leaking coolant from our coolant passage through the head gasket into our cylinders, causing the coolant loss, causing the misfire, causing all of our issues. Again, here is that head gasket. We can see relatively solid rings, and then when we get to the middle, we've even got some burnt areas on that head gasket from the combustion gases coming out of the cylinders and the coolant being able to get back into the cylinder head. So I need to get the block surface all cleaned up and ready for the new gasket and the new cylinder head to go on. And obviously this time I'm going to properly torque the head bolts that apparently the factory couldn't do for me. I don't really see any defects in the cylinder head or the block. Obviously I'll see a little bit better once I get everything cleaned up a little bit more, but I think we had under torqued head bolts causing the whole issue from day one. That was our coolant smell, that was our little bit of coolant burn, and it finally just developed as the truck got used and more mileage on it. So I'm gonna jump back in here, we're gonna get this thing cleaned up, we're gonna get the new head on it, gasket, bolt it back together, and we should be back in business. Well guys, as you saw, I didn't really film too much of the reinstallation of the cylinder head and the supercharger because it would have just been outrageously long, and it obviously was already really long just on the time lapse of the teardown. But you at least kind of saw the process of airbox and supercharger and valve cover and cylinder head all coming off this thing. We got to look at what we found, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it was just loose head bolts or under torque head bolts. I didn't really see any defect in the head or the head gasket, but we've got a fresh cylinder head on, a new cylinder head gasket, we've got new bolts. Everything that I touched, I put fresh on. Obviously, this repair was covered under the warranty, under the 5-year, 60,000 mile factory powertrain warranty, so it didn't cost me anything. It just was a really huge pain. I really don't want to do one of these again. But I've been driving the truck for a couple of days now and it seems happy. It seems healthy. I don't have any misfires. My coolant level is staying nice and even in the coolant reservoir. So I think that was our issue. Now, the question is the other cylinder head bolts loose? Are they tight? I'm hoping that there was 2 different robots bolting those cylinder heads on. The side on the driver's side was having the good day and the passenger side was having a bad day, but I needed to get the truck back together. I didn't want to tear the other side apart, so I put it back together and we'll drive it. Again, we've got 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain, so if there's an issue with the other side, it's gonna be covered. It's just going to be a massive teardown, but I'll know what I need to do this time. So guys, hopefully that was kind of interesting, seeing the massive effort that was Hellcat TRX teardown, and hopefully yours never has this issue. But if it does, again, it's covered under warranty. So guys, thanks for watching along on a massive time-lapse engine teardown video. And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.